Gump Report, baby.
Yeah, you've been waiting for it, and it's going to be released on the same day I'm filming it before NXT. Guys, what do we really have with Phillip Brooks, aka CM Punk? Now, when it first happened last week, when we found out that he got fired, it was a huge amount of information just spilling everywhere. And this is the reason why I wanted to wait until after enough information came out instead of just jumping on top of it, because I got a few people say, dude, did you know CM Punk is gone? Dude, did you know CM Punk is going back to WWE? This is what has been released so far. Now, I just checked about 10 to 15 minutes ago, and that something happened within the last 10 to 15 minutes. This is the most fresh amount of information I could find on 6 sites. Now, we know what happened. All in more of a conversation and then an altercation than just what they said about Jack Perry trying to take a swing at CM Punk, which he did not. This is what was stated. Jack Perry, supposedly after the match was over, confronted CM Punk, but did not hit him. That is what was stated. At first they said it was an actual fight, and Jack Perry actually physically tried to swing at CM Punk where he choked his ass out legitimately. But then there was another report that came out, well, 2 or 3 reports. One, Miro said there was no real altercation. 2, that instead of there being a swing by Jack Perry, he did not swing at him. He approached CM Punk, and then CM Punk choked his ass out. That's what happened. Now, adding on top of what happened in All In that I just found out is another article that talked about Samoa Joe, who was actually very frustrated because after the altercation happened, that Jack Perry approached CM Punk to talk to him because of the attitude of, well, maybe I should crank this back. What caused CM Punk and Jack Perry to act the way they did? Simple. Jack Perry wanted to do glass in the window of the car and the windshield. Not just fake glass, real glass. And supposedly reported, this is what not many people are stating, supposedly reported it was the creative team and Tony Schiavone who approached CM Punk to ask him to talk to Jack Perry. That was a mistake. Why would the creative team and Tony Schiavone approach CM Punk to talk to Jack Perry instead of them telling him no? That was a excuse me. That was a mistake by AEW staff. That was the first mistake done. Now, Jack Perry did not want to hear that. That is the reason why he still went with the glass. And then when he basically said in All In, here's glass, cry me a river, was a stab at CM Punk. And after the match was over between him and Hook, he went to the back, approached CM Punk, and that is when CM Punk, whatever conversation they had, CM Punk choked out Jack Perry. Of course, Jack was going to fight him once he started choking him, but by Jack Perry going up to his face and saying, now what? I did that. Got choked out. And then supposedly Samoa Joe was frustrated because CM Punk didn't want to go outside and do the work he's supposed to do, and he had to convince CM Punk to go do that match. That is what I found. Now, next step. What has happened to Jack Perry and CM Punk? We already know CM Punk. He had a conversation with Tony Khan, and supposedly saying, I hate this fucking place, and then put his hands on Tony Khan. That is what prompted Tony Khan and his disciplinary team to finally say, look, this ain't right. He's got to be gotten rid of. Then they checked with law. In other words, checked with the lawyers. Honestly, you can break the contracts, fire him. And that's what they did it. Now, what would cause CM Punk to go this far? Now, supposedly another report came out that before All In, at least a week or so or more, because I know about what happened with the transport in England, and I will get to that in a minute. But supposedly, before they even went to England, you got CM Punk supposed to have a meeting with Tony, him, the Bucks, and Kenny to try and resolve their differences. The Elite, the Bucks, Kenny refused to go to that meeting at all. They refused. And that is when supposedly this really began to really build up really badly. Now, because of the report, and I will get to the report about WWE. I know people are going to say right now, dude, you're forgetting about WWE. No, I'm not. I'm going in parts that you can digest. But essentially, from what the staff knew, and generally the wrestlers, they knew by that time CM Punk was frustrated already because the meeting that would have buried the hatchet, as they said in the article, did not happen. The Bucks didn't want to do it. Kenny didn't want to do it. Nobody wanted to be involved in it. So by the time they went to All in other words, when they went to London and the incident with the transportation happened, when Philip managed to get to London, there was supposed to be a transport there. There was no transport, so he went and got his own transport. Supposedly, the transport that was set up by Tony and the staff was late or did not show up. I believe it was late, and he did not want to wait. He got his own transportation, and that is what even made it even more worse. Now, let's go fast forward for what was the punishment for both. One, we already know CM Punk has now been fired. He's done. But when it came to Jack Perry, because of his attitude, yes, and I will make this clear. I want to make this very clear. Jack Perry's at fault here for being an idiot. He was. When it came down to it, he could have listened to CM Punk. If CM Punk was asked by Creative and Tony Schiavone, not Tony Khan, Tony Schiavone, hey, can you talk to Jack Perry about this? We're not too comfortable about him doing this with Glass. Jack did not need to have an attitude with CM Punk. Yes, let's make it clear. CM Punk already had problems in the company. Yes, after the scrum. Yes, not everyone was completely happy with him. But there were others who were happy with him in the company. I want to make this clear. If anyone says no one liked him in AEW, that's a full flat-out lie. There were people who were not comfortable with him, and there were a lot of people who were happy with him. Okay? That has also been reported on multiple podcasts with people who knows either staff or wrestlers there that said clearly there were some that were not comfortable with Punk. But there was a lot more that were fine with him coming back after the scrum and him and his injury. I believe it was tricep injury while he was out. So let's make that clear. Now, what did we get with Jack Perry doing what he did? Since the staff for Creative and Tony Schiavone did not go straight to him to A6 it, they asked Punk to do it, he made the biggest stupid-ass mistake by not just, okay, if Punk is coming to me and he's not being disrespectful, you're saying, dude, this might not be wise for you. It might be better for you not to do it. He could have taken it and not had an attitude afterward. Yes, he could have still done the spot, but by This Is Glass, Crimea River, that line during the match with Hook, that was his fault. He made this fault and he's suspended until further notice. I do not know how long he's going to be suspended, but he caused this mess. He did. Yes, let's make it clear that the creative staff and Tony Schiavone should have did their job and approached him directly instead of letting a veteran wrestler deal with it. They're partially at fault, but none of them have been suspended. This is still on Jack. Jack did not need to go that far. He could have taken what Punk said into advisement. He said, I still want to do it. He didn't need to be disrespectful and try to do a rib at CM Punk because of what he did. He approached them after the match was over and he got his ass fucking choked out for it. Now, I'm not saying that's right. CM Punk should never choked him. He should have just walked away. But he's got an anger issue. It is obvious. He should have never did that. So, I'm not taking 100% blame away from Jack. The creative team should have dealt with it. And Punk should have walked away from it. But he directly made that call. And he's suspended, and he deserves it. Now, when he comes back, he should be watched to see if he has another problem with attitude. If he does, his ass is out too, because he deserves it. If he causes any other controversy, any type of problem, he should go as well. Flat out, it doesn't matter how talented he is. We don't need this in AEW. Flat out. Now, let's move on to Punk himself. What is going to happen with him? Where would he possibly go? Is he going to WWE? Like many people say, he's going to WWE. Let's break it down. First, it was reported that the interest in WWE was not now, but was in December. It was reported that he did put out feelers to WWE. That was roughly maybe around the time when, or maybe a little afterward. I think after. No, was it after or before? When did he actually do that? I can't remember when. Either it was before he went to WWE, made that thought, or a little after he went to visit Impact and WWE. I think it was he made this kind of feeling out to WWE to see would they be interested in him coming back in December. I think that was before he went to WWE first to see everybody until he was told by Triple H, hey, you're not supposed to be here. You're going to have to leave. But he was allowed to say hello to everybody. And then he went to Impact after that. But let's make it clear. I do believe that happened months before when he sent out like a question. Would you entertain me returning to WWE? Because he was considering it. That is what was basically in the article. So do not think that this happened now. This happened last year. Let's make it clear. Last year this happened. Now, fast forward to now. What are we going to do? Is he going to WWE? Will he go somewhere else? Here's what the question is. He was fired. He was not released. We do not know what type of contract he has with AEW. There could be a non-compete clause whether he's released or fired. We do not know yet. That has not been stated in any article. I want to make this clear. It's not stated. If anyone says, oh, he's going to WWE immediately, we don't know if he can compete. Understand, there could be part of the contract he signed, even if he's fired from it. Because remember, they redid several parts of his contract and made him sign several other things on top of it after what happened with the scrum. Remember? He was brought to Tony and he was told you have to sign several new types of papers and understand the new situation you're in. So we do not know that any extra paperwork that was put into his contract or any papers that he had to sign to maintain his status in the company states if we fire you because of what you've done previously in a new situation, you can't compete for this amount of time. We do not know. So until then, we'll find out. Now, let's say, hypothetically, if there is no section in any of the paperwork he signed to make sure he doesn't do this again, which he did, would he go back to WWE? Well, as I've already stated, he already put out feelers last year around December to see if they would entertain him returning. So I can't say yes or no that he will go back to WWE because he's already stated some level of interest by just doing that. But would WWE take him? Here's the question. At this time, since Vince currently is subpoenaed to go to court because of what he did a year and a half ago, and also due to the fact that he's still recovering from major back surgery, I can't tell you that Vince would sign off on it. Right now, the person that is still running the company on behalf of Vince on site is Nick Khan, and the creative, basically what's going on that we see in the show, is Triple H. That's still going to be up to Vince himself because I doubt that Triple H is going to be able to hire Phillip Brooks, CM Punk, without Vince finding out, because eventually Vince would find out and he will not like it. So Triple H will probably pass it by him saying, look, he's been fired. We have a chance to get the most controversial person here that could probably bring in a lot of views, a lot of eyes on the product, a lot of merchandise. It's going to be up to Vince, whether anyone says it or not. And I know Just Alex did his video on it. And JD and Jesse, JD did a video. Excuse me. He talked about it. In my point of view, here's the thing. We know Vince still has control of the company until next year, because the deal with Endeavor, I believe his name is Endeavor, the deal hasn't gone through yet. Vince can still renege on that deal. If you think it's done, set in pen, no it's not. Vince can still cancel, and the other side can also cancel. But Vince can still say, you know what? No, I'm not doing this. And he can still keep the company at 80% share. He owns 80% of the shares in the company, guys. He can do whatever the fuck he wants. That's the way he got back in the first place. So right now, he could still 100% say, no, let's forget about this deal. I'm going to keep it. But he would still have to be dealing with the subpoena from the grand jury about what he did. So I cannot tell you if he will get in. It's going to still be left up to Vince. It's not, I know Just Alex, he stated, and JD would state it as well, that Triple H will probably want to get him. But also Triple H knows what he's dealing with. And it's going to be a big question if Triple H will deal with this situation, because it's not going to be Vince dealing with it. It'll be Triple H having to deal with him on a day-to-day basis, not Vince. But Vince will still have the final say of the situation. But here's the thing. When you see how this situation is, being as volatile as it is, seeing how the fans in Chicago flat out didn't react and all out. They knew by then that CM Punk was gone. So we still don't know what's going to happen in the next following episodes of Rampage or Dynamite or Collision. We don't know. We don't know how the fans are going to react in different states, in the different cities that are in the United States. We just don't. So we may get them hijacking it, or we may not. But will he go to WWE? Like I said, I don't know. I believe Just Alex said it would be great if he waited 6 months, maybe at the Royal Rumble. It's not the point of how many weeks, months that he waits. It's still going to come down to Vince, not Triple H. Triple H may want to hire him because maybe he wants to be willing to deal with him, knowing full well that he knows how to deal with him now that he's generally in charge, as they would say, because he's not on the board of directors anymore. Make this clear. Triple H is no longer a member of the board of directors. He's gone. He's just running creative on behalf of Vince McMahon, who can easily overrule him at any time. He can overrule Triple H at any time. Whether you like it or not, keep thinking that Triple H is running it. He's only running it as long as Vince allows him. He's not in permanent control. He can only go as so far as Vince will allow him, because Vince could tell him no anytime, and he has no choice but to obey it. So it's still down to Vince. Now, let's say they don't want him. And let's say Triple H decided, you know what, I don't want this. Tells Vince, let's not have him. Vince already is convinced he doesn't want him. And they don't go there. Let's just say, hypothetically, that happens. What now? Well, he does have other options. He can just return to retirement. And with all the money he got already from AEW, because he's been paid, understand, he ain't broke. He's got money. He's been paid already most of that money that he got through his contract already. He got money in the bank. He's fine. Him and April got money. Him and his wife got money. They'll be fine. They are settled. They're well off. So he can go back in retirement. Or, if he still has that wrestling itch, he can do one of several things. One, go for the indies. He can go through the indies and basically make a name for himself all over again. Going to what is it? POW. He can go to Reality of Wrestling. I know you're going to say, what? I'm just saying all independent promotions. If he wanted to rebuild himself like a Cody Rhodes and just start from scratch, he can go to all the minor promotions and just take work. He doesn't have to worry about money. He just takes work. Yeah, he'll take big money if they got it. But in general, just go and do the independents for a little while, for a year or two. Just to feel something. That's one possibility. Another, go to one of the other pay-per-views. Well, not pay-per-views. One of the other promotions that does have some type of connection to networks. Like MLW currently has Reeds, and they're also doing something, I believe, with the Fightful app. Impact Wrestling, they could go there, and I'll talk about that in a moment. You can go there. What is the other one? New Japan Pro Wrestling. He can go to New Japan Pro Wrestling. Anybody says, oh, he won't go to New Japan. Yes, they'll take him. Pro Wrestling Noah would take him. New Japan Pro Wrestling would take him. All Japan Pro Wrestling would take him. If you're stupid enough to think that he won't go to Japan for a year or two and work a Japanese wrestling, he will do it. They will pay him this. They will pay him. And he can do it. And he would do it. Look at Mercedes Moné. They all thought that she was going to go straight to AEW. No. She went to New Japan Pro Wrestling. Okay? To her, New Japan Pro... If you've not seen her YouTube channel, she said, while in a car, talking about when she spoke to the president of New Japan Pro Wrestling, that, sorry that you have to come to a minor promotion, that we're not bigger. And she said, minor promotion? This is one of the major promotions. I've dreamed of coming here. That is what Mercedes said herself. Go check it for yourself. Go and check Mercedes' YouTube channel. One of her first videos that she talks about becoming part of the New Japan Pro Wrestling roster. She said it. So he could go there. So you cannot say he will not go to Japan. He can go to Japan. They will pay him this. And if it's not New Japan Pro Wrestling, which is the biggest promotion there, he can go to Pro Wrestling Noah. He can go to All Japan Pro Wrestling. He can go to DDT. He can go to any one of those promotions at any time if he is cleared with no non-compete. Remember, we still do not know his contract or the extended paperwork that he filed. Well, not filed, but filled out because of the scrum. Now, Impact Wrestling. Let's make this clear. I have to talk about it because people are going to say, dude, what about Impact? I'm not going to tell you he couldn't go to Impact Wrestling. Now, Impact does not have the budget. We got WWE. We got AEW. We got Impact. That's it. This is where Impact is. AEW, WWE, here and here. He'll go there because he just wants to go there. He's known there already. Now, mind you, from what I've heard, he was fired from there because he was there not very long, because Samoa Joe went there before him, and then I believe Samoa Joe went there before him, or he went there before Samoa Joe. One of the two. But when it came down to it, he was there for a little while, and then he left due to the fact there was some type of conflict. Now, mind you, that was during the time, I believe either it was Jeff Jarrett that was in charge or Dixie Carter in charge. I do not know who was in charge of the time of the company. Because remember, you got Jeff Jarrett and his dad. Then you got the Carters. And then we got Anthem taking over after that. So you got Jeff, Carter, Anthem. I do not know where he falls. He could fall between the crack of Jeff and Jeff Jarrett and Dixie Carter, somewhere in that time where they were transitioning. I cannot tell you which one it is. I just can tell you that he was there and they released him. But he could go back. He's already gone back to Impact. He's gone there and talked to them, just like he did with WWE. Kind of hedging his bets. Let's make this clear. Impact may not have the huge budget of AEW and WWE, but it's been known to produce some of the best wrestlers that have gone to WWE. Let's make it clear. They have. AJ Styles is still a top talent. Look at Eli Drake, currently LA Knight, he has been there. I'm just saying that you never know. You never 100% know that he couldn't come back. Would Impact Wrestling gain something by him being there? Of course they would. The publicity of having CM Punk, the most controversial wrestler that exists right now, there is no one more controversial than him. Thinking about what happened with Hulk Hogan saying the fucking word nigger. He did that. A lot of people wanted to kill him after that. A lot of black people wanted his head on a damn silver platter. But WWE brought him back. And he did work with Impact for a short time. He could go to Impact Wrestling. Would they book him correctly? I don't know. It's going to probably be that if he signs a short-term or long-term contract with Impact, he's going to make damn sure that he has creative control of his character. There is no way he won't. There is no way that he is not going to say, I'll sign with you. I'll take this amount of money. But I want creative control and do whatever the fuck I want with my character. And they could do that. So, this is where we're at right now. We don't know if he can actually compete yet. We know that he made inquiries to WWE in December. If anybody says now, that's a lie. The reports and articles says December 2022. We know right now that if he can compete, if he's interested in WWE, it's going to depend on Vince himself. Even if Triple H wants him, Vince will be the one who makes the final decision. And if he can't go there, he can go to New Japan, All Japan, Pro Wrestling Noah, DDT. That's a Japanese promotion he could go to. He can also separately just do what Cody Rhodes did and just go across all the independent scenes to rebuild himself. Not worrying about money. Yeah, he'll take money if he wants to be paid. He'll take it. But to be honest, he doesn't really need a lot of money because he's rich. He's a rich man. He can retire right now, which is another option, but he could go to the independent scene. And this is what we get from him. Finally, he can go to MLW, of course. I didn't talk much about MLW, but he can go there. Or the more prominent one, Impact Wrestling, because it's a very distant third, and I believe it's stronger than MLW is right now. But from what I understand, ML's right here, Impact is here, and sooner or later, if Impact doesn't really make themselves better by not just working on their hardware for their equipment, they also have to make sure that the people who are running the equipment are not acting foolish, like I've been saying. Impact is the third known brand still. So you can see him going there, and if he does go there, he will probably want total creative control of his character, and that will be it. That will not be any negotiation. Either you give me control, or that's it. That's what I believe will happen. But this is just me, and I hope you enjoyed the Zane's View. Please, what am I saying? Zane's View. I actually forgot. I haven't said Zane's View in so long. I guess I miss it. My Gump Report, baby. Give me a comment below. I'm actually going to film one more, and I'm not going to do it now, but it is going to be about Adam Copeland, The Edge. I'm going to try and see if there's any new information about him and see if there might be something that might be a rumor or something if he's going to go to AEW or not. Or Impact Wrestling. I'm not saying he will, but you never know. Christian Cage went to Impact, former Christian. You never know that he may just go there. Peace.